Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is part 2 of the OCR with OpenCV tutorial. Now the idea is that we are going to use a forum and we are going to detect the individual text information out of it. So we have this awesomeness form uh, which basically you have to register to being awesome, right? So far in the part 1, what we did was we extracted this form and we got the bird's eye view of this forum using feature detection. And in this part, we are going to extract the regions of interest, and then we are going to send it to our Tesseract to give us the final answers, and then we will overlay it on the original image. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we are in the PyCharm environment, and you can see that we have the code from our previous video. We are importing the packages, we have the image imported, and then we have created the detector and found out the key points and the descriptors. And then we extracted or imported all of these images that we had in the user forms. And one by one, we created or we found out their key points and descriptors. And then we used the brute force matcher to actually match these descriptors. So we took the best 25% of the matches and we drew them out, and at the end of the day we use these matches to find the source points and the destination points, and then we used the matrix to find the the word perspective or the bird's eye view of the forum. So now that we have all of this information and it is pretty much straightened out, we need to extract the regions of interest. So what we will do is we will write here a list. So let's write down here. So we will have a list of ROI, and this will contain two elements. So the first one will be the X, Y, and the width and height. So this will be the bounding box information. For example, our image is our text box is present at 50 pixel and then 60 pixel, and the width of it is, let's say, 300, and the height of it is, let's say, 15. No, 15 is too low. Let's say 50. So this is the idea. So once we have that, we need commas in between. Then we will have another attribute which will be basically whether it's text input or whether it's a checkbox. So we can write text if it's text, and we can write, for example, box if it's a checkbox. And we can add another one which will be the name. So we can write whatever the name of the element is. For example, this is phone number, or let's say this is the checkbox for sign. So we can write this like that. So this is the basic structure of our region of interest. So we need the bounding box, we need the type of it, and then we need the name of it. So how can we find all of these information? So if I go to my image, let me open this in, let's say, Paint. So right click and edit. So if I have this image, and if you look at the space over here, it will show me the pixel number. So if I move here, let's say this is my point, so it's showing me that it is 372 by 1432 pixel. So this is the XY position. So what we have to do is we need to know the first position, which is this, and then the second position, which is this, which is the diagonal position. So we need to know for each one of these. So for example, for our phone number, we need to know this point and then this point. And for our text box, the checkbox, we need it from here till here. So all of this is very painful to do if you're doing it manually. And what if you change something in the forum, or what if you have a new forum? So that will be very annoying. So what I've done is I've created a script that will generate all of this information for us. So let me close that. And this script is nothing fancy. It is just using mouse points to save these values. And what you have to do is you have to input, as a user, you have to input what is the name and the type. So let me show you a demo. So let me run this. Let's right click and run this. So here we have this, and what I have to do is I have to click on this. This is the start point. It doesn't have to be perfect, and then this is the end point. So here it will ask me what is the type. I will say it is a text, and what is the name of it. I will say its name. Then it will keep running, and I can write here, for example, this one is text again, and then we have phone. Then this one is the checkbox, so we will write here box, and then we can write, let's say, sign, and then we have allergic. Now you can do a mistake here as well. It's fine, it's not a big deal. For example, this is a box but we write it as text. It's fine. And let's say this was allergic. So I will show you how to fix the error later on. So then we will write email, and we will write here text, and then email. Again, you can make spelling mistakes as well. It's fine, we can change it later on. Then we have awesome ID. We will write here text and then ID. Then we will go back and write city. Again, I have put it really high up here, and then over here it doesn't matter that much, just you know, it should be in the ballpark. So it is city, so we will write text and then city, and the last one is basically our country, so we will write here text and country. Now this part is very, very important. I know I will be receiving a lot of questions about this, so I'm explaining this very slowly. Once you are done, you have to click on this part, the top part here where it says original image. Click on this part and click on S, the keyboard S. Okay, once you do that, it will generate all the information for you, and you can double click it and copy it back to the main part. So here, instead of RY, you can just paste this here, and if you want, you can give it some spacing so that we can see it properly. So let me bring this down. And where were we? Okay, we were here, and there you go, and there you go. Okay, so now this is basically our ROI. So this is the XY position, and this is the width and the height at the end. So this is not actually the width and the height. This is the width plus the X and the height plus the Y. So yeah. And as I mentioned before, if you make a mistake, for example, allergic is basically text, is basically box. So you can come here and just simply change it to box. It doesn't matter. If you made a spelling mistake, for example, you wrote email like this, you can remove it and you can simply type it out. Okay, so once we have all of this information, what we will do next is we will loop through our ROI. So you have to think of this. Right now we have, when we are running this, we have one of the images. Now for this one image, we have to loop through all of the region of interest. So we will say that for X and R enumerates ROI. So again, we need the index as well. So we are using X as well. So R will be the region of interest. So basically each time we are looping, we are getting one of these. So one here, then the second one, then the third one. Where is the comma for this? Should be a comma. Okay, so yeah, so that is the idea. And then we will go down here, and before we actually use these, let's just print out all of this on our original image. So what we will do is we will create an image which was pretty much the same size of what our original image is. So we will write here that I am let's say show img show. This will be the final image. So we are going to write here that image scan dot copy. So we are going to copy this image, and then we are going to create a mask. So image mask. Now this will be a little bit confusing, but once we do it you will understand what is happening. So we will write zeros. Basically we are creating a mask of the same size. So we will write, what is that? It says it should be dot. Okay, so we will write here image scan or image show. Okay, so we will write this here. It's going to be the same thing, but we will write image show. So this will create this mask, and what we will do is we are going to create rectangles on this mask, and then we will overlay it on our original image. So we will write here cv2.rectangle, and in that we are going to write that we want to paste it on our image mask, and then we are going to give in our information. So the first element will be the x, so it will be the 0 0. So basically we are accessing the first matrix or the first element, which is this one, and inside that we are getting our R0. Okay, I think I explained this a little bit wrong. We have one bracket, which is one list, and within that list we have 4 elements rather than 3 elements. We have 4 elements, and we have R1, R2, R3, and R4. So these are our elements, and because we are starting from 0, this will be R0. So we are getting R0 at 0. So this will be our x, and then our y will be R0 at 1. Then this will be basically our initial point, and then we will give in the diagonal point, which will be R1. So let me just copy this. So here I think I'm making a mistake in the brackets. No, this is fine here. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we will write here 1, and we will write here 1. So these are our x and y, and this is basically our diagonal points. And then we are going to write the color. Let's say we will put green 255 and 0, and then we can write the font, or no, it's the thickness. So we are not actually writing text, so sometimes I forget stuff. Okay, so we will write cv2.fill. So this is the thickness, and that should be enough. So we will write here img show is equals to cv2.addWeighted, and then we have the first image, which is show, and we will give it 0.99, and then we have the image mask, which we will give at 0.1. You can change these values if you want, and we will give the gamma as 0. Okay, so then we can simply print it out. So let's print out the show after the for loop. So we will print it out here, and let's see what it looks like. Oh, this is the other code. We will run the main. It did not work. Why didn't it work? So it is supposed to, let me see, cv2, and it is y and show. Okay, so I am back, and I have found the issue, which is quite funny, and this is the resizing. Because it is resizing, it's not putting it in the right position. So what we have to do is we have to cut this over here. Now again, this is just for viewing purpose, and I forgot about that. That is why it happened. So we will paste it here, and we will convert it to show and show, and that should be fine. So if I run this now, there you go. So now you can see that these are the regions where we are getting our information from. So next, what we have to do is we have to crop these regions, and then we can send it to Tesseract. So the reason we actually highlighted them to see that we are detecting the correct area. Okay, so now that this is done, I will comment this out just in case. Then we are going to move on to the cropping. So for cropping, we are going to write image, let's say crop is equals to img scan. So we are just going to use the slicing method within our array. So we will write here that we want to start at R0, 0, 1. So basically first we have the height and we want to go till R11. And then we have the width. So for the width we have R00. This is the starting point. 0, 0. And then we have till R0, 1, 0. So this should crop the image. So what we can do is we can print this out, and if we want to see, we can print each of these out. So we can write here, instead of Y, we can write X, and we can remove this 2, and we can write image crop. We don't need to resize it, hopefully. And we got an error. Image crop, we have an error. Oh yeah, this error is because of the string. We have to make sure it is a string when we are printing it out. So let's run that, and there we go. So each of these fields is now being cropped properly, and we can see that we are finding the relevant information. So even the checkbox and all of the text. So that is good. So next we will check if our region of interest is basically a checkbox or a text. So we will write here if that our R2 is basically this value. So this is R0, R1, R2. So R2 is equals to, let's say, text. Then we are going to send this to our Tesseract. So we will write here my data dot append. So this will be the where should we paste it? Not here. I think we can put it above here. Yeah. So let's put it here. My data is equals to empty. So this will be the data for each of our images. So each of the forum, all of the data will be stored here. So we are going to append this. So where is it? My data dot append, and then we are going to append Tesseract dot image to string. Where is it? Image to string, and then we will write image crop. So that should append the data. If we want to print it, we can print this out as well. So we can write here, let's say print, and we want to print this. Let's write a string, and over here we can write that our R3 will be the name. So let's put it like this. R3 is the name, and then it is basically this. So that should be good. So let's print it out and see what happens. There you go. So we are getting some information. So here we can see that we are getting some information. So we are getting the name properly, then the phone number, the contacts, but we don't know which forum we are working with, because here the forum finishes and the next one starts. So I think it will be better if we print it out here. So above our for loop we can write print, we can write here extracting data from form, and then we can write the forum number. So the forum number is basically the value of j. So we will write it here, j, and that should do it. So let's run this again. So it says extracting data. Let's let it run a little bit more. Let's stop this. So here it will say extracting data from forum 0, then extracting data from forum 1. Still it's not very clear, so we can write, let's say, like this, so it's a little more clear. There you go. So now it will be quite visible. There you go. Okay, so next what we will do is we are going to, let's bring it down here. We can remove this because we don't need to print this out. And then we will keep this here. And then we are going to write that if it's, let's say R2 is basically equals to box, then we are going to perform some other action. So those other actions are basically, first of all, we are going to convert it into gray. So we will write here image gray is equals to cv2 dot cvt color, and then our source image is our crop image, so crop, and then we will write cv2 dot color underscore rbg color underscore bgr to gray. There you go. Then we are going to use image thresholding, so we will write here image threshold is equals to cv2 dot threshold, and we have to give in our source image, which is our image gray, and then we will give in our threshold, let's say 170, and then we have to give in the maximum value, let's say 255. So this is understood, it's 255. 170 is the threshold after which it will detect as 1, and below that it will detect as 0. And then we will write cv2 dot binary threshold inverse. So binary, is it like this? It's thresh binary inverse, yeah, this one. So then we are going to get the second element of this. Okay, so now we need to find the total number of pixels that we have. So if it's dark region, so basically we are inversing it. So when we inverse it, then the dark region will give us 1 and the bright region will give us 0. So we need to find how many dark regions we have, how many pixels were dark that were converted to bright, or 1. So we have to find the total pixels. Total pixels is equals to cv2 dot count non-zero. There you go. And we will give in our image threshold, and there we have it. So what we can do is we can print out this value. So print total pixels, and let's see what do we get. Okay, so here we are getting the values. Let's see what they are. Let it run, and there you go. Okay, so in the first form you can see that the first one is filled and the second one is empty. So here we have the first one is filled, so we have 2000 something, and the second one is 0 pixels. For the second image it's the same. For the third one, both of them are filled. So if we go to the last one, yeah, you can see here for John Williams, both of them are filled. So we have something above 2000. So we can say that anything above 500 maybe can be considered as checked in the box. So we will go here and we are going to say that if the total number of pixels is greater than our count, or let's say pixel threshold, then total pixels is equals to 1, else total pixels is equals to 0. And why is it like this? Okay, so what is that? Now we can define the pixel threshold. So let's go here, and over here we are going to, let's say, write 500. So if we run this again, actually we didn't print it out, so we need to print and we need to append, so we have to do both things. So we will copy this and we will paste it here, and then for R3 we are going to print out the total number of pixels, and then we are going to append our data as well. So we will append, and then again we will append the total number of pixels. So let's run and see what happens. And there you go. So now we have sign as 1 and allergic as 0, then sign as 1, allergic 0, then sign as 1, allergic as 1. So these are our what do you call, checkboxes. But why do we have this? What is this? Let's see. Okay, so I am back, and I found the problem actually. The reason it was displaying all of that is not because anything we wrote wrong in the code, it was just the version. So I wrote this code about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and at that time I was using a different version. So if I go to File and I go to Settings, in Tesseract I was using 0.34, and right now I was using 0.36, and it seems that there is some change in that and it's not detecting properly. I don't know why. So here it was detecting, I think, an extra line or something like that. So here I reversed it back to 0.34. So if you just double click and if you specify the version, so here I chose 0.34, and now it works perfectly. So if I run this now, you will see that we have the name without any spacing or new line and all of the information, and this is the data that we are saving at the end of our loop, and then it goes to the next one. It detects all the text, saves it to the my data, and then it goes to the next one. So but the thing is that our data is not being actually saved, it's just been appended to my data. So what we can do at the end is to just save it in a file. So we can go here and we can right click and create a new file, and we can call this as data output.csv, and inside that we are going to write what were our headings. So let me write it from here. So we had name, and then we had phone, then sign, then allergic, then we had email, then ID, and city, and then country. So these are our parameters that we have to save, and then we can hit save. So this is a CSV file, comma separated values, so that's why we are putting commas here. So that should be fine, and let's press an enter and save. So let's go back to our code, and over there we are going to, once this loop is done, we are going to write here that with open, and we will write data output dot, what is this? Okay, so data dot csv, and then we will write that. What is happening? Why why would it do this? That's just horrible. Why would you block the vision? Anyways, so this is a plus, which means we need to append, and then we are going to write as f, and we will write for data in my data, we are going to f dot write the string value of our data, and we want to add a comma in front of each one of these. So that will be our comma separated values, and then we will write f dot write. We need to go into the next line, so we will write here new line. So every time it runs, it should save it in a new line, and that should do it. So let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so it's done. We can close this and we can go to data output, and there we have it. So now we have the name, the phone number, sign, allergic, email, and then we have the ID, then the city, and then the country. So we have all of the information, and it is in the correct format. So if I open this up, let's say in Excel, you can see that we are getting the correct format, and now we have all of this information in our Excel sheet. So that is pretty good. And I don't, yeah, here the ID we can expand. So yeah, so that looks pretty good. And as we add, keep adding more, it will append. If I run it again, it will actually append again. So if I go back and if I run it again, permission denied because we have opened the Excel file. Let me close that and let's run it again. It's running, and now you can see already we have 2 more, and now it's done with the third one. If we close and open it again, we have the third one again. So we have these 3, and then we have these 3. So it will keep appending as you keep adding more. So this is good, but what we want to see at the final result is the actual image with the names or the text detected written on the actual image. So that is what we are going to do now. So for that, all we need to do is after every iteration of our region, so whenever we find a region, we are going to display the name on top of it, whatever we found. So we are going to write here, we are going to write cv2 dot put text, and we are going to give in our image, which is image show. This is the image that is for the result, and then we are going to write a string. So the string is basically my data at x. So whatever the data I have at this point with this index, so that will be my string. And then we have the region again, r0 and then 0, then we have r0 and then r1, and then we are going to put let's say cv2 dot font. Which one should we pick? Let's pick plain. Where is plain? Yeah, this one is plain. And then we will write, let's say 2.5, and then we will put the color as red, so 0 0 255, and then we will put it as 4. So that should be good. Let's run it again and see. So again, it's going to give us the original image. So you can see it's giving the name right, John Williams, and it's writing it there. But again, it's too huge to view. So we are finally going to resize it again before we show it. So let's see how it works. Okay, so there we have it. So these are the 3 images as our final result. So you can see all of the names are detected properly, and then we have the checkbox as well, and then we have the ID, the email address, even the @ is detected properly. Then we have the city, the country. So all of these are being detected properly, and you can see that even though there are some gaps here and there, we are still able to detect it properly without any issues. So this method you can apply to any forum or receipts. All you have to do is you have to go to your region selector and make sure you change the image name. So this is the query image. So maybe I will put a path variable here. Let's say like this, and we can write here query.png, and we can replace this with path over here. So all you have to do is you have to replace this name, and then you can select all of the points and you can bring it here to the main file and you can paste it here. And once you do that, it will automatically do all the calculation for you. It will show you the output result. So in my opinion, the results are very good, but again, this is for printed font, and for handwritten you have to add some different technique, or you have to add your own data to actually detect the text properly. So this code you can use later on as well. If you actually train a better neural network model, you can add this you can add that neural net model to this code, and you can run it to detect the forums. So all you have to do is you have to change this part where we are using Tesseract. You could use your own model to find the detection on the image crop. So this is it for today's video. I hope you have learned something new. If you have any suggestions or comments, leave them in the comments below, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.